He walked out of the bank vault with 30 million euros, but the police net closed in with a precision that suggested an inside leak. His brother died under the indiscriminate fire of the police to cover his escape. He survived only by jumping off a bridge and hiding in a dumpster. However, the next day's headlines plunged him into deeper confusion. Despite not harming a soul, he was branded the prime suspect in a massacre that claimed 8 lives. He tried to clear his name, but the moment he stepped outside, he was arrested. The police seemed to know his every move. Resigned to spending his life behind bars, he was unexpectedly handed a bomb and a cell phone by a prison guard. Using his mattress to shield himself from the blast, he successfully blew his way out of the cell. He regrouped with accomplices who were raiding the prison, but he soon realized they hadn't come for him. Instead, they dragged a former government minister out of another cell. He knew then that something was horribly wrong with his crew. He followed them, taking several hostages to flee the prison, only to be surrounded. Under the cover of a black umbrella and wielding a grenade, he held the line until a female officer stepped forward to offer herself as a hostage. This allowed him to board the getaway vehicle and reach the extraction point inside a tunnel. If they could swap cars, they would be clear of the police for good. But before he could even question his teammates, they were ambushed. The mysterious attackers were the same ones who had framed them at the bank. His female partner was struck down while trying to save the team. Now the last man standing, he hurled a grenade to avenge his fallen comrades, unaware that the mastermind, the police chief, had already crept up behind them. The female officer survived thanks to her bulletproof vest and drove him and his wounded accomplice away from the scene. The dying accomplice confessed the truth. The police chief had orchestrated the entire frame-up, but never intended for any witnesses to survive. He burned with a desire for revenge, but the female officer stopped him. She had been investigating a serial killer cold case for 10 years. And now all roads led back to the police chief. She drove him to the prosecutor general's estate to report her superior. Suspicious, he followed her inside, only to discover a horrifying reality. The prosecutor and the police chief were conspirators. That decade-old serial killing spree was the work of an organized syndicate. He slipped out of the villa. Just as the police chief moved to execute the female officer, he rammed his car into the chief, finally avenging his crew. He took all the evidence the officer had gathered, made 100 copies, and distributed them to 100 different journalists, hoping that at least one would have the courage to expose the truth. Finally, he tracked down the prosecutor's vehicle on his motorcycle and raised his gun.